Yes, the Northman. I remember watching these YouTube videos the latter part of last year. A lot of these big channels would do things like most anticipated films of 2022. And for the most part, this movie was on everybody's list. So I was curious because I've never heard of this film. I go to the movies a lot, never seen not one trailer. The only trailer I've ever seen was on YouTube, and that was in the last month. Never heard of this film. But it was weird because everybody was talking about, like, man, next year, the Batman, Doctor Strange, and the Northman kept popping up. I'm like, so what's the hype? Alexander Skarsgård comes from a talented family. He's the main star of this film. I can't say protagonist, and I really can't say antagonist because he's both. Nicole Kidman, Anya Taylor-Joy. You have brief appearances from William Dafoe, Bjork, who was a fantastic musician at one time turned actor. It's kind of cool. And it's a Viking tale with a Hamlet background, and you hear people use the Lion King because that's taken from Hamlet. You know, uncle kills brother, uncle then marries brother's wife. Let me kill my brother's son so I can inherit the kingdom and be the king. One of the oldest fables of all time, but it's still very, very effective. Eggers is the director of this film. He got fame from The Witch and Lighthouse. He's a visionary director, which I love. When it comes to directors, I tend to follow the more visionary style directors more than I do your tailor-made ones for Hollywood studio films. They take risks. Dialogue is not that important to them. It's visuals and telling a story using these, not so much lip service. This movie is gorgeous. Now, Eggers used the same cinematographer from his last film, The Lighthouse. And that film, you know me, I love me some black and white, gorgeous. This movie review is going to be a little different. I'm going to talk about studios and marketing because this movie is poorly marketed. I went in personally to see a film that was advertised to me. And remember, I never heard of this movie until just recently. I'm like, oh, a Viking brutal fight war movie? I'm with it. It's not what I got. Now, some of those elements were throughout the movie. They were sprinkled throughout the film. Don't get me wrong. Bloody good time. But this is not for a mainstream audience. And again, I think I said this recently. In our small niche community on YouTube, we have blinders on when it comes to film and filmmaking. We don't think about mainstream. This movie's not going to make any money. And it's a technical achievement, but financially, the studio is going to take a loss. It costs $90 million. And I'm not sure how much they spent on advertising because it wasn't very much. It's not going to make its money back. This movie will be a failure, successful wise. And the only way I can equate that for you to understand, because when you're a moviegoer of our caliber, we think, hey, it's a great film, that's good enough. No, this is a business. Yes, it's art involved. Like, for example, an art gallery. You pay a person to run the gallery. Okay? These people are responsible for the lights being on, being clean, every month finding a great painter or sculpture or whatever to display their art in the art museum every month. This person is called a curator. They're paid a nice salary to run the art gallery. And you got 12 months out of the year, each month, to bring somebody new to pack the house and sell art. Because if you don't sell any art, the gallery is gonna close down. Because somebody's keeping the lights on and the curator is being paid a salary. And then usually they get a commission with each painting sold or art. And oh, I found a nice young artist. This person's great. They have a visionary style. That's good and dandy. But if you don't sell any paintings that whole month and you're buying wine and cheese and crackers and little meats and treats to give to all these snooty people that's walking through the door going, this is interesting, but they don't buy shit, guess what? It's a failure. This movie is very artsy. It's beautiful to look at. And only a handful of people will support this movie. It's not enough. Mainstream. Look, I seen this movie last night. I took a couple of friends because I was under the impression, Braveheart, we're going to see some of this, some of that. It's not what we got. I was cool with it because I can take the weird and abstract and exorbitant and, my boys, they were like, man, what the fuck is this? They're looking at me like this. You know how you're watching a movie screen and you're looking straight, but you can feel somebody looking at you and your skull is starting to burn? Yeah. I have buddies on each side of me going like this. One looking this way, one looking this way. Man, what the fuck is this? They said the movie was too weird, too long, and they were checking their watches and their cell phones throughout the film, so they wasn't interested. And when they did have the battle scene, they said, yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed that, man, but it didn't hold my attention. And that's what you're going to get with this film. Even those who was anticipating and liked this director and couldn't wait to see this film, they're going to be slightly disappointed because this movie is not as advertised. That's not the director's fault. The people you pay handsomely to market these films have failed the studio. Doesn't make it a bad film, but it's going to make it a non-successful film. Now, it might get accolades down the line. We have to wait and see. We have a long time, but it opens worldwide this weekend, and that theater was not packed. And outside in the lobby, when the movie was over, people were divided. And I'm like, yeah, this is what's going to happen. And I waited to come home, absorb what I just seen, and take it all in before I did my review. Again, it's a straightforward story, a revenge story, and this man is absorbed when he finds out where his uncle is at. His love interest, Anya Taylor-Joy, amazing. To me, I know Alexander's the star of this film. In my opinion, it's Nicole Kidman. She is amazing in this film. Her performance is lights out. Ageless beauty, wonderful talent. Damn, she still got it. And I'm talking about her acting ability, not just her looks. Anya Taylor-Joy, I am in awe of this young woman. She has a quality in her appearance that I can't figure out. She's of this earth. She's from another planet. Just her structure, the way she looks, she is unearthly in the best way. Her bone structure, her big eyes that are round and dark. I mean, her eyeballs are black. She's the kind of woman that if you ever go out to dinner with her, you sit across the table and she makes you speak first because you're so uncomfortable because of the way she looks. She's looking at you. You're like, what? Wait. She's like, what do you mean what? I didn't say anything. That's the kind of person she is. And on screen, she's a marvel to look at, but her acting chops are through the roof. Bjork, The smallest role she had was effective. That's why I used her as my thumbnail. Man, she was very memorable in this film, playing this witch or visionary person. Same thing with William Dafoe. Them eyes got bucked, got that jaw structure that's really bony and eerie. Man, Edgar knows how to cast for his films. Ethan Hawke had a small role. He played the king, the father, the fallen. Boy, before he got his, one of the best speeches of the entire film. This movie is wonderfully cast, beautifully shot, wonderfully acted, and Eggers is a master filmmaker. His long takes and movement of the camera is incredible. Those moments are burned in my brain forever. I was in awe of this film. Very realistic. It's brutal. I don't mean brutal just with the blood, guts, and gore. It's brutal just people being draped in mud, blood. Everybody looked like they stink and it's musty. It really felt like I'm back in those days because I'm a history buff. I love history. And Vikings are a fascinating breed and species of people. I'm glad I was born in this day and time because I could not live like that because, well, slavery is something that bothers me. And I'm tired of seeing it on film. Tired of seeing it on film. It's an ugly part of history, but it is history. I do recognize it. But for the first time, it felt good to see people who was considered slaves and treated badly, and they wasn't black. I can appreciate that part of history. It's wrong, but I'm just saying, visually, I'm tired of seeing black people being whipped and mistreated. You know, there's other people in this world, the Jews and some of these Viking people that was treated like scums, and it was nice to see that betrayed on the big screen, not just black people. But this movie is gonna be divided. Is it too long? Maybe. I totally am disappointed in the studio's handling of this film and marketing. Like I said, you're not paying to see what you see in the trailer. You're getting something different. In the end, it's up to you to decide, was it worth it or not? In this community, as YouTubers and film experts and pundits, we tend to, oh yes, but the art. Remember, the art gallery. If you don't sell any art, that display is a failure. Because you can walk into an art museum, that's why they don't allow you to take pictures and post them of people's art. Because why buy art when you can take a picture of it? See what I mean? And a lot of people spend money to entertain you and don't get that money back. And this movie, though entertaining, though beautiful, it's going to be a failure financially. But hey, let me know what you think about this film. And I want to read your comments down below. All right? Peace. And just remember, it's just my point of view. Damn. Fade to black.